Good morning, everybody. So sorry we're off to a little bit of a late start here, but as you can imagine with the CPI number, it's been pretty crazy. Uh, so let's just start jumping right into it. I mean, I have a ton to cover. So, I mean, there's really a lot for me to go over here, and we can really just jump right into it. But in regards to what's going on out there today, this is going to be a very interesting day because you actually saw your tech stocks start to rally already. And, that's really what we're looking for. So let's just look at what's going on out there so you can kind of get a sense of it. Okay. This is really kind of important to see. Let me just point this out. Okay. So let's get rid of these indicators for a moment. Okay. This is when the CPI data came out. Okay. We're heading right to resistance. So clearly the move here was what, right? Clearly the move here was exactly what we were looking for tech. So that's a really good sign. We've seen reversals already in a lot of names. We have to see how this plays out. A lot of the names that sold down yesterday, I would look at. I would definitely be looking at. So keep that in mind. Hey, good morning. So, yep, do not chase today. I mean, today's really the day to be getting out of some names, not into them. Let me just, before I get into all these, hey, MA, let me just point this out. So like, this is a perfect environment now for Tesla, right? Because if the market is going to say, you can almost see how it's mimicking the Qs, right? Like it's going to be the Qs on steroids. That's usually what it is. But I just want to touch base on this. If this is going to happen, we can see how this wedge line moved now, but that's also with this data in. But breaking this, yeah, you can get to this 726, 727 level very quickly, like really quickly. Depends on how much push we see here. And right now it looks like we're going to see a lot of push. So, and that could drive us higher. It could drive us higher all day. We just have to make sure it's not a one-hit wonder. I don't think it's going to be a one-hit wonder day. This is just my opinion. So we're going to have to just see how it plays out. So let's just jump into it. APPS. So obviously, let's talk about this. Okay. So here you are, pre-data, post-data, right? So obviously earnings came out and what happened? We went down. So we didn't really do exactly what we wanted to do, right? I mean, it kind of did what it did, and there's not really much we can do about that. So the question is, what do you do now? You can't be in this because you really don't have any support left. Here, look at this. You're through everything. So what are you holding on to besides, a hope and a prayer? I mean, that's really what you're hoping. And I'm not saying that it can't happen, but you see how you broke this? So now you've broken a rising wedge. What happened last time we broke a rising wedge? Okay. They're walking this down. Here's an H pattern. They broke it here. Here's the rising wedge. They broke it here. Here's the bear flag. It broke down. It's getting ready to break 57. I would not be a buyer of this. If I was in this, I would simply use that as my stop. I didn't move this out of the way. I would simply use that as my stop. If worst case, I'd already be out of this, but if I wasn't out of it, that's got to be your stop. So I hope that's clear. So SFT. So Shift Technologies. Well, that's a good earnings report, right? Yeah, I mean, wow. So that's responding very well. There's a couple issues. I could see one. It's probably not going to show up here, but let's put it in this way so we can say it. It'll probably show up this way. So, yeah, you don't have that issue. I thought you were going to have an issue here with where your point of control was. You don't have that issue. I was wrong. So, see how all this is going away over here? And see how this shelf is right here? Let me mute this so that I don't drive people crazy with the beeps from all these darn computers. So what you're seeing here is you're just seeing an absolute rip. And that's exactly what I think this could continue. See how your supply goes away? I don't know what the news is. Obviously, pre-market, it's traded up, but it's definitely heading higher and looks like it can go higher. So your first key level for something like this would be here, 1090. And then you just have to walk it up, 1149. 12 3/4. So you get the idea. But I like that name. It's interesting. It looks like it's going to go. So in regards to, let's do this, GT. Yeah, they still need tires. I mean, they're not going to make tire. They are going to need tires. It can. I mean, here's the thing you have to understand about Goodyear. Okay. Goodyear trades inversely, usually, I should repeat this, usually trades inversely to oil. So it really hasn't done that here. You've gone from 8 to 20, and you're actually trading like the energy index. So there's a lot of really weird things going on. See the energy index? And so here's the thing you have to understand about Goodyear. Making those tires, right? 2/3 of their cost to make a tire is oil, petroleum. So it doesn't really make sense that they would go up while oil is going up. But nothing really makes sense right now, does it? So it's not surprising. Before I buy this, I'd get through some of this. You have too much nonsense up here. You have this point of control line up here at 17. You have shelf after shelf after shelf where you're going to have to battle to get through. I mean, you really almost want to wait till about 18 1/4 before you get involved with it. But I will give you this. This bounce here right off of this level, this was beautiful. The opening here after earnings, having the continuation, beautiful. But let's get above the 50-day and see that institutional sponsorship. Let's get above that point of control and maybe even get above this other little shelf and try to get back into that channel, because if you can do that, it could really go. So let's look at EA. I like that trade, but it needs time. It needs time to be all it can be. So EA, look, everything's rolling. You're breaking down. If I throw this in, okay, doesn't really make a difference, which is the pre and post. But let's get into this. Okay, here's a long red nasty bar down. What's happening to that? I'm just building a little flag right here under the 200-day. There is no reason to go near this. I understand people are going to look at this level right here, right? You're going to look at this and go, oh, it's holding support. You're holding support under what? The 200-day moving average? So no, I'd be out. And if I broke this, you could even look at this as a possible short position. So just keep going here. VERI. Let's do it. So, okay, I don't like that I'm not above the 200-day, and I don't know enough about it, but something's going on here with earnings. See how we just keep losing the same amount of money, roughly? So I don't really know what they do. What I do like about it is this. I do like the 21 and the 50 are about to cross up. I do like how it's respecting this, and I do like how it's respecting here. This would be nothing for this stock if you're looking for a trade to get to here, to get to that 25 level. It'd be nothing for that to happen. So that could definitely happen. There's no question about it. You just have to sit, watch, and wait with it, but there's no question about it. That could happen. Roku is just going to have to spend a little time in the timeout, it looks like, right? So Roku has some issues here. And I'll leave this data in. See how you have a gap here? Okay, gaps aren't good to the downside. So it just means that there's no supply, so there's not really anybody to hold it there. So you're really probably heading to this 357 level. This is pretty systematic. When you have like a 45-degree angle, it's pretty much institutional selling, and that's what it is. And it just, for whatever reason, they missed that number. People don't like when you miss that number, and here we are. So that can definitely continue, and that can be an issue for us. So we're just going to have to keep that in mind. In regards to, let me just keep going here. In regards to, I like the name. Where are we here? I just jumped ahead. UPST. I like UPST a lot. I mean, look, people are concerned about paying up for it and everything else right now. They just crushed. I mean, I would not be surprised to see this hit a new high. Like, I don't know if it's going to do it, today, but I would not be surprised to see this hit a new high. It's really important to understand this. Okay. See the 7 cents that they earned? This was their first quarter of earnings. This is back here. Everybody knows you front load your first quarter of earnings. So a lot of institutions won't buy it, okay, until they see a comp. Well, now you have a comp, but that's only one set of comparable data, right? So you're not really going to do as much there. Institutions won't. They want proof because they can't move like us. They're not retail. They can't get in and out. We can get in and out. Once they're in, they're in. If you ever listen to one of these guys talk that runs like a lot of money, and a lot of money is, billions. Once they're in, they're in. It's really hard for them to get out of a position. So, you start seeing this, you start seeing tripling again. You start going up 300% in earnings growth, quarter versus quarter. People are going to pay attention, and people are going to pay attention to this. So this has proven itself now. There's no question about it. And from one of the scans that I use, fundamentals have completely increased as far as funds buying it. So once you start to see that, it's everything. I think there's a ton of potential there, and it's definitely one that I'm looking for to get into. So, hey, good morning, Sandy. So, this I stayed away from it last night, and I didn't buy it after hours. And the reason was because they bought a little company. But it seems like nobody really seems to care this morning but me. They broke out and they're doing great. Now, this was one that we had in the newsletter and we traded before. Let me just clear this up. So here's your rising trend line, broke it. Rising trend line, broke it. You still have these levels, but this one looks like we're about to get through, doesn't it? So then we're going to get to this critical juncture again. For me, I need to get through 114 at this point. And this is a great stock to look at where you're at here with your point of control and your VWAP because you're basing. So I'll say it again. You really want to use your volume by price when you're basing. You see your point of control and your VWAP. So, but you got this 200. I'm not really that concerned about the 200. I'm more concerned, it does coincide perfectly, right, with my line. So you might want to wait for above both, but get me above 114 and you definitely have my interest. So is mRNA cooling off? Is mRNA cooling off? So I know that there was a report out that the pricing is ridiculous. Look, I'll just going to touch base with this. I hope this breaks and comes to 419, 416 in this area. I hope it does. I don't think it's going to. I think you're going to hold right here on a negative report, and then people are going to wonder why they're not in it. And I think that that's exactly what's going to happen. These institutional desks, when they come out and issue statements, sometimes they issue statements to be contrarian. There's a whole litany of reasons why they're going to say stuff. So just watch that. Now, in regards to this, you can see your level. Okay. So what level were we having trouble with pre-market? 455.30, right? See, you're having trouble there. What level are we going to want to make sure that we clear through before we get involved? 455.30. You might play it later, but if you're looking to buy this on the long side, get through that. And then you can use the low of the day as your stop. But to me, this could run. When you have this nonsense start, you don't know if these analysts are doing it to get a large institution in. You have no idea why they're doing what they're doing. You can't take them at face value. Not anymore. They really have lost a lot of credibility. EWL. So shares of Switzerland. This is kind of interesting. I love looking at stuff like this, other stock markets. So, but here, look at this. Yeah. I mean, you have to get above this level, and you can go, but look at this. I mean, this is beautiful, right? You broke here, and then you formed your little morning star and then broke right back above it. I mean, you're just on a tear. There's really very little reason to do anything here. Sit, watch, and wait. But I like this. This could go a lot higher. You could see the other side of the channel right here. So that could keep going, EWL. It looks good. The earnings were good, but they talked about slowing volume. So, like, I'm not going to knock it because it's setting up perfectly to run. So, I mean, here's how you have to look at coin. Okay, if I get above this, and really at this point now you have to get above this one, right? What is that? 284. If you get above 284 today at that level, you're probably going to 310. Okay, I mean, you can look at it for a trade for sure. Get through 284.65 and you're probably going to 310. Okay, I don't think that that's going to change. And I think you could look at it that way. But, you know, they talked about lower volume, DLPN. So when they talk about lower volume, that's not something that I want to be involved with. You know, you got to get through this 13 level, Marty. Other than that, I'm not too crazy about that. Let's take a look. Hey, Nestor. EWZ, I'm long. And what are you long? 40 in September. Okay. So let's be sure. Okay. So let's look at this. You have some issues. Like if you have a 40 out to September 3rd, you don't have a lot of time here. Right? The first thing is here's your resistance line. Your resistance is right here. Okay. And you can actually even argue that there's another one right here. Right? See how you're hitting here and then you can't break above this. On top of that, hold on, let me draw that better, Nestor. So you see that line, Nestor, right? So to me, I wouldn't be buying this option. What I would probably do, because we're just talking an option trade, right? And this is on the Brazil market. So what I would do, and you could see where you're resting in here, is I would probably get out of it and then just wait until I broke this level and got above 38.22 and closed above 38.22, and then probably put it back on. And then you could try from there, because by the time that happens, you're probably through this line as well. That's how I would play it. I wouldn't be in this because I could just keep grinding down, right? And you're fighting on point of control now too. So I could grind down here. And it wouldn't mean that anything's broken. It just means that you're grinding down and you're just going to, you know, lose money. That's how I would play that, Nestor. Hey, Brandon. Good morning. Hey, Boca. All right, let's do XLF. So this is really shaping up, right? And everyone's trying to figure out how it's shaping up and why, you know, why it's shaping up the way that it is. So if they raise rates, people make money, okay? And that's why, and the commercial banks in particular make money. You know, the investment banks might have a harder time, but the commercial banks that lend will do very well. So 38.60 is really what you're looking for it to flip. I think they can go. I mean, look at all these advisors that we had on that top 10 list from before, right? I mean, all those advisory stocks that do on yields, they're all setting up to go higher. Look at Goldman. I mean, Goldman's taken out all-time highs, right? Morgan, I mean, both of these are a majority of the index. Morgan's taken out highs. The only reason I didn't pick Morgan and I picked Goldman for the newsletter was that. But that whole space is just on fire. And I don't think it's going to, I don't think it's going to stop. Right? Here's Jeffries. I mean, that's breaking out. They're all setting up to break out. And it's not like they're just, you know, been running, Boca. Like a lot of them have bases like this. I'm not going to go through all of them, but a lot of them have these bases that they've been there for a while. So this can continue. It's a very odd market because, you know, the financials are going up. You know, we have the other groups going up. We have technology going up. I mean, here, look at this morning. Let me get to this, and you can see what I'm talking about. So we'll put this in line of order. And I do this every morning and look, and I would recommend that you do it as well. It just shows the sectors. You can just see where money flow is going in like a real split second in comparison to the SPY, right? So you can see that, right, that these indexes are outperforming the SPY. These are underperforming the SPY. It's very simple to do. I'd recommend that people consider doing this. But look at this, right? Like energy's down, but REITs are coming back up, right? And now we have financials that are still up, but technology's rallying, and we're seeing steel rally. Like it really defies what's going on out there. But to get back to your question, is that this can break out and this could run, and you'll be looking at this. And again, it's one of the reasons, Boca, I added Goldman to the letter, added Goldman to the newsletter, because, I didn't know how this was going to play out, the CPI. Nobody does, or at least no one in my circles. So you could see this could just keep going. I mean, you could get to 44, 45 on this, and that's like a 25% move on this. And I don't even want to tell you what that does to the stocks. So there's a lot of room there to run, Boca. MOS. Oh, I didn't know there was a low supply, Anna. That's good to know. Thank you for sharing that. I had no idea. So you're basing right on what? Point of control and VWAP? What happens next? You're coming right into this shelf. Do I really want to buy this coming into that shelf? Probably not. How's the stock reacting today coming into that shelf? Looks like we're going down. I wouldn't touch this till I can get through that part right here. And it means you're paying up 2 points, but you want to see that. You're still out of your upward trend. So you could still bounce around here and trade. I wouldn't be in a huge hurry there. Hey, Ro, good morning. Mara, avoid. The other names are better. Mara is the one that broke yesterday. Down. If the screen is blurry, if your screen is blurry, it could just be a little button here on the side. I'm trying to point out where this is. Hold on. It's kind of funny. I'm pointing on the wrong screen. If there's a button down here on settings, and if you click on that, you might just have to increase the quality of the video that you're looking at. And that might fix it for you, Samira. If not, let me know. DDD, I was talking about earlier today, right? We were talking about it in the community, or I was talking about it in the community. But here's my point. What does this look like, right? We run up, we fail a trend level, and then we pull back and get hit. What other stocks have done this, right? And I ran through a bunch of them. Okay, Net came in, had earnings, comes all the way down, and then runs out and hits a new high. Okay, CVNA, we think it's going to run on huge earnings. What's it do? Right? Collapses, goes through the line, and then takes out a new high. I really don't think this moves over. Okay, I really don't. I think this sold down on some nonsense, and the earnings were stellar. So to me, if I break this 32.17, I'm probably coming back down to this level, and then maybe I could even fill the gap, which I would love, because I'd be all over this now after that earnings report. But more importantly, I think you're just going to trade in here. I really do. I think you're going to trade and base in here and push higher. I think you're going to follow through those other patterns of those other stocks I just talked about. So let's just keep going. Coin I covered. I like it if it breaks that 284.60, Janice. You can go back and take a look. Hey, you two. So let's do AMD. So this is where you buy AMD. I don't even have to look at the chart. I can already tell you that it's doing everything it's supposed to do. So we were talking about this yesterday, and this is worth a try. Like if you want to be in this longer term, and you didn't, and you weren't trying to buy it up here and pay 122 for it, and you're trying to stay in this. Okay, there's a reason I drew this line. I was watching it. There's a reason I was looking at the options yesterday and watching the action in it. So they were positioning themselves. You could buy that with this as a stop and just leave it alone, right? I mean, you could just print it right off the open and just use that 4-point stop, and that's it. There's your trade. If you break this, like you're not going to really, here's your issue with it, right? Do you really want to wait till you get up to here? Probably not, right? You don't want to get up to here and then reject. So at this point, just for risk purposes, risk on, put the trade on. Break here, and you could probably get right up to here. If not, you lose 4 points. Who cares? Next. But it gets you in that, and then that gets you back into this. And I think semis are going to continue to rip. I'm just going to use the more conservative line. But, you can still get up here, right? You can get to there, 120 fairly easy, right? Here's a little more. You can kind of see where you're at, 123. I like AMD a lot here. I really do. DPZ, I was looking at, Larry. I was looking at yesterday. I covered it last night because a lot of people were looking at this going, oh, I'm going to short it. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, I get it. Like you're trying to capture this. To me, I would just change my thinking a little bit to go, when this bottoms, I'm going to buy it. And you know, this moved, just so we're clear, this moved on earnings. Okay, this moved on pizza earnings. So just keep that in mind. It's like insane, but these are the kinds of moves this stock has, right? Selling pizza, right? But look at what's going on here. So I have a wedge in a bull flag. So if I broke this, I probably would stay out of the way until it figures out what it wants to do. But if I break this to the upside, if you break above this, right, this level right here, which is, you know, 530, you're going to go. If you don't want to wait for that level, if you're bouncing around in here and you see a possible entry, you can get in it and then just use, just use like an orb, like a 5-minute or 15-minute orb, and then just go from here, right? And then you just use your stop at 517.72. That's how I would play it. So Snap I like. Snap we have in the newsletter. I like it. I'm not crazy about yesterday. I'm really not. And we're going to have to see how we trade today. You know, I'm hoping this is a blip, but when this happens, and it's happened here before, you think you're going to break out and go crazy, and then it doesn't and get slapped back down, right? I mean, the last time this happened here, right? That's what we lost. So, and that was after earnings as well. So, you know, it just makes me somewhat concerned that it's a pretty big fail yesterday on it. So we're going to have to see how that goes. Let's try and get through a couple. Sandy, your support level on FUBO is 31.45. Let's get through this. I'm going to start. I'll do a quick lightning round for the rest of them. Okay, this is your level, 31.45. Anything under that, if buying is close to 32.50 as you can. Okay, if you're already in it, your stop is 31.55. If you're already in it, congratulations. I think that has the potential to run today. I think this has the potential to really run today. So, like, I know people are saying it's up 20%, but that report was probably one of the best reports I've seen in years from a company. Sure. Hey, Francesco, MMM. I'm just going to run through these very, very quickly now. So I wouldn't do anything here, right? You're rolling. You're trying to hold. So right? So you're trying to hold. I wouldn't do anything till I can get above that level on MMM, Francesco. Etsy, MYO, Etsy, MYO. I wouldn't touch this. Look how you got to that point of control and rejected. I'd avoid that. Etsy, you got to avoid until you get above this level. We had earnings, and look at all this volume up here. I don't want to go near this. You can't go near this. I mean, you can do anything you want. I wouldn't go near this with all this volume up here, all that supply. You're just asking for an issue. Hey, Defy. I'm in Florida now too. So MicroStrategy, MSTR. You see this right here? Yeah, I think you can still go. I don't think this moves over. You know, we have a position in this at like 730 and change. I'm just leaving it on. If I get stopped out, I get stopped out. But I'm just leaving the position on. We have to find a spot. We have to find a spot to get in. I mean, it's really that simple, right? I mean, you can't buy it going into earnings hoping it's going to do that. You just can't. I mean, you can't. I mean, let me rephrase that. You can do anything you want. This looked like it was going to run, and then it pulled the flim flam and came right back down. Watch it this morning. It looks like it wants a little bit more action. You see how you're opening here in pre-market, filling this gap, certainly getting above this level. If you're playing this is what you're looking for. Get above that. Get above that 651. Get above that 50-day. Create a little FOMO, and it could probably run right to here, which is about 850, 840. So that can go again. So I've got a lot to go through here today. All right, I'm going to do these just to see if we can go there. Tempor PCG. I ran a little late today, so I'll stay a little bit longer. I get it. I know a lot of people that have been bottom fishing this, but let me just show you this so you can understand. I mean, you're really just, do you really want to be bottom fishing this? You know, I mean, there's so much talk of them just going bankrupt. So I don't know the story long enough, but this is a fundamental story that you better really understand. You know, they keep blaming them for the wildfires and things. You need to be really careful there. It's not something I'd be rushing into. I understand that you're seeing volume and you're seeing the spike, and I'm not saying that there's not a trade there, but there's better places to put your money. I'd be really careful there. You know, you could just come in one day and then they just announce that they're shut down, or they're pulling it, or some other bad piece of news hits, or another fire. Vail looks good. Look how you're turning and breaking here on the monthly, right? Let's go look at the daily. So yeah, you got some work to do on the daily. 22 and a quarter before I'd even think about it. Get me above all this nonsense. It's only a point away. So let's go Vail. We did. Or if we've done NVAX. Hey, Jen. NVAX we're going to do, and HUT. Let me just do NVAX. You know what? HUT, I'm not going to, I'll take me 2 seconds. I'll just do it. NVAX, like here, the question becomes, why do you want to buy this one versus the other two? I mean, here we go again. We're going to try and break out. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but why am I playing this one versus the other one? I mean, look, when I had this event, I should have gone up. I didn't. I came back down. Okay. They're losing more money. Okay. That's not really very appealing to an institution that could buy companies like this that are absolutely crushing on the money side. So why you're fighting an uphill battle? Myrna, Vail. Myrna, I did. Let's do Autodesk. Just if you're in this, just leave it alone. Looks great. If you break the 8-day and you're in for a short-term trade, get out. See how it's riding that line? What was the other one? Walmart. Just leave it alone if you're in. If you're in, leave it alone. If you're not in, you're buying it in front of a train. You're buying it in front of earnings, and you don't know what this is going to do on earnings. I've been in this before for earnings. It's gone up dramatically. It's come down on great numbers. So you just don't know what you're going to get there. So, all right, yep, I got to go. All right, I got to hit it here, guys. I like this name. I like this name as well. And BLBM, let me just do that real quick, and then I got to jump. So don't go near this. Look at that 49.27. Just avoid it. And you got that shelf there. All right, I got to go, everyone. Have a great day.